Hi guys, Milner here. Welcome back to yet another Fallout 76 tutorial on the channel. Hope you're all doing well. 9 days till Christmas. I hope everyone's ready. Just like to say a massive thank you to all of my supporters so far, my channel members. You guys are absolutely awesome. You guys keep this channel going and keep me doing what I'm doing. If you like what you see, maybe you've learned something, please hit that sub button. I really appreciate the support, and it just helps the channel grow. Other than that, let's get into this. Right, and this one I've built right here in between the station and the metal dome. Right, some of my old subs will remember that me and Vix, we used to do little challenges a little while back, and one of them was to build a camp, and you was only allowed to end up with one foundation visible. Now this was a really fun build for me. I really enjoyed it, and I thought I'd do a little tutorial over it because it doesn't take a lot of budget. The budget comes from when you start decorating, but to actually build it doesn't take much. So yeah, let's do this one. So I wanted to use the door from the Wildwood Tavern. Now the only way you can use that door is via the actual prefab itself. So we're going to start off by placing the prefab, stick the door in, break the door, and then once the door is broken, you'll be able to remove the tavern and the door will just be left there. Happy days. Right, now the tavern's gone, we can repair this door, and what we need to do next is line up a foundation so it's bang on central to this doorway. Just the door. It's not a doorway, it's a door. Right, so I hope you're looking forward to this bit because it takes forever to line this up. But what you want to do is, I've used a standard concrete foundation because I've got that central line in it. So we're going to use that to line it up in the centre of the door, and then we just want to line up so that it's just flush with the front of the door. Right, so now that you've spent so long on that you've missed Christmas, you'll realise that the doorway won't just snap over the door. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and burn the door, and then you can just snap your walls in. Lovely. Right, now make sure that you repair that door twice, just because why not? And then you can go ahead and check it, make sure that everything's all lovely and flush. Next, I'm going to be requiring a shooting target. But don't worry if you haven't got the Amazon Prime ones. Hopefully you might have got this one off a previous scoreboard, but if you don't have that, don't panic. You can use a small floor decor item like the rocks or something. But I'm going to be going ahead and using these because I like to use them. They're nice and easy. Next, we're going to take a shipping container. I'm going to use the closed one for this because we're going to be sinking it miles into the ground. Right, now we want to place that container right on the edge of the bottle, just so it's just touching the bottle really, because you want to make it easy to be able to shoot it. I'm going to place down a half stair post there because when I merge down, I want it to be about half a wall high. So now we're going to take the buddy system that we've borrowed from Campfire Tales, and we're going to place that down so we can do a drop merge. Now I do have some new buddy system merch in the shop, just gonna plug that one in while I've got the opportunity. So yeah, if you fancy looking at any of that sort of stuff, I really appreciate that too. Now as you can see, using that as my guide, I just want to drop that down just a little bit further, and then hopefully that should be great. Right, so now I've got this pretty much at the height I want it. We can go ahead and remove that stair post so that we can move the shooting target around and line up our shipping container. Now I want to have it so the front of the shipping container is just past the front of the building. Right, and then you can just simply spend what feels like an eternity lining this thing up, because I like to spend as much time as possible stressing myself out, making sure everything's nice and straight. Right, then lastly of this, I just want to push it forward enough because I like to double wall all my builds, so I want to make sure that I can get a wall on and then it still be poking out enough in front. Right, and then so the main reason I used the shooting target was because you can just literally break that and it totally disappears. Next, we're going to want to step this foundation out by half because we're going to be working on the upper floor, which is going to be made out of roofs because we're not going to technically have any stairs. So now that I've moved that out, I've then placed in a wall. Now I chose this roof at this point. Don't do that. My advice, place in the pit roof, because you'll find out later. So then we can break the tie to that roof and move our foundation back. Next I'm going to grab some cabinets and make a little burning platform so we can break that roof. Right, now that's burnt, we can place in our next roof without a problem. And then we're going to want to change the direction of that one as well and break that one too. Right, next you can place on that last roof, change that one over as well and break that one, just so all them roofs are out of the way. Next I'm going to underpin, but I only need to do these 3 sides because remember we've got a shipping container on the back. You're going to take whatever device you use to go under the ground and just simply place in some half walls. And of course the whole going under the ground is completely optional. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. I just like to cover my foundations. Next, back above ground, I'm going to place in my double walls all the way round. Right, so I tried to change that to do half walls on that inside, but it wasn't letting me, and basically what it's doing is it's tied to that half wall underground. It's a simple fix I learned from Mr. Church. You can change that over to the triangles if you have the Blue Ridge Caravan wall pack. That'll break the tie, then you can remove your wall, place in your half walls and then change your triangle back to a half wall again. Moving up to the next set of walls, I wanted to try and change these up as well a little bit. So I've placed in a full wall on the inside. Now I'm using a triangle, one of these slanty bits and then an upper triangle as well. Just to try and mix up the texture so it's not all just doorways, it's a mishmash of this, that and anything I can get my hands on. Right, so next I'm going to take out 2 foundations so I can work on the corners of the build. I'm going to go down into my blueprints and grab the 2 half stair posts blueprint that I've got. And just in case you don't know this blueprint, I'm going to run over it quickly. Just simply place a foundation, snap on 2 half posts, take a small floor decor item, whatever you might own, place it down and then remove that bottom post. The top one will stay there, and then push that egg into place, and then you can just simply place your post back on, which snaps to the top one, and then blueprint the whole thing. And these will place anywhere on foundations like I'm about to show you now, and we can just go ahead and push it into that corner as tight as we possibly can, and then work your way around doing all 4 corners. So now that all that's done, we can just go ahead and snap in another couple of half stair posts just to finish it all off. As with the underpinnings, you don't need to place them ones on the bottom if you don't want to, but I just like to do all that sort of stuff. Right, you can remove that one because the shipping container's there and it doesn't need to be there. You can just get rid of all the foundations as well. Right, repairing this first part of the roof because we're going to work on the sort of fencing that goes around it. I'm going to go ahead and use these plasma balls. If you don't have these plasma balls, just use whatever you can that you might have in your inventory, maybe the Mothman bug zapper or the oil lamppost or something. Anyway, so I'm going to place 3 of these, and I want to keep these overhanging this roof as far as possible, just because the roofs that I choose to use have got quite a big sort of edging round them, so I want them to be sitting in that as much as I can. Could be a little bit tricky sometimes. They just don't want to move over because of the support issues that it has. I tried snapping another temporary roof to the side of it to see if I can move it out a little bit, but it just wanted to take support on the other roof, so it's just a question of pushing it as far as you possibly can. Well, once you're happy with all that, you can go ahead and break that roof so it all disappears. Then next we want to step out by 2 foundations, and we're going to put in a temporary set of stairs and build a temporary upper floor. We need to work our way around because I want to be using the small fences, but they will only snap onto these upper floors for some reason. So I'm working my way in. I'm going to place the fences on that I want to use, and then you can just simply go ahead and remove all them floors. Right, as you can see, when it comes to this one, that post is getting away. Nice and easy, just remove the post, place in the fence, and then you can just go ahead and break that fence, place the post back in. Okay, now I'm going to just go around and place in the roof up on the top. This is nice and easy. I'm just going to bring a burning platform up here just to make life a little bit easier, but you just simply go around placing your pit roofs and then remembering which one you've done last, and literally just follow the pattern round. Right, so you're going to have to move the burning platform over to the other side because it's going to get in the way of this next part. We can place in the last one of these pit roofs, change that over to break it, and then finally I'm going to place in one of these barn roofs, the one with the little hut on top. Right, so I've gone ahead and repaired the shooting target to bring my shipping container back, and I'm going to be building the first set of these ramps. Now I'm using these pit scaffold ramps because I really like the rugged sort of look to them, and then you can just break the container, keep moving the ramps forward just so they touch the front of it like that. Now I'm going to be working on some railings for around the shipping container. I'm placing these on top of a suitcase so I can move them around a little bit easier, and it leaves it a decent height at the top of the container, as you can see there. Now you can repair the container, keep moving it around a bit until you're happy. Right, once you're done with that, we're going to need to make another one. And like we've done before, it's just a question of getting it right on the edge of the suitcase and then moving it about. Now this is going to take a lot of repairing and checking and moving and breaking and burning, but it's worth it in the end. It gives you some sort of different sort of textures, things you don't usually see people use. Right, and then I want to be using this guard post. If you don't have that one, you could always use this standard one that you get free with the game, but these ones that I'm using are currently, at the time of this video, in the atom shop. I think they're about 250 atoms. So I've broke my container like I've done with the defence railings, and then it's just a question of bringing it in, lining it all up. It takes time, but it's well worth it in the end. Right, so next you're going to want to lower a flamer down onto a mat using the buddy system, just so we can break those suitcases to move those defence walls out of the way, because what it was that one at the back next to the guard post was just in the way. So you shuffle it all around to where you're happy with all that, and then this next part is going to be a little bit tricky, because what we are going to try and do now is put a last sort of railings at the front of the shipping container. So I've broke my shipping container, then I'm going to place some foundations out so where they're not sunk in the dirt anywhere, and that was this one for me. And this next bit's going to be a bit of trial and error, so we're going to have to move this foundation over a bit, and then I also want to move this foundation forwards a bit, something like that, and then we can snap some more foundations on. Now, because our shipping container is half a stair post high, we need to step our foundations up by half a stair post. So I've snapped in one of those, snapped the foundations to the post, then you can build your stairs up, a upper floor, then come back down to the same height as the top of the shipping container and work your way in. Place in your defence wall, or your railings should I say. Make sure that you're completely happy with where that's sitting, and then before you delete any of them upper floors, make sure you break the shooting target to completely remove the container. Then we need to put a ramp foundation up, because all these will be locked at the moment because we're higher than the foundation wants to originally sit because of that stair post. You're going to need to delete the stair post, then you can remove everything else. Right, so for this last part we are going to want to get a ramp up to our upper floor, but it is a little bit too low, so we're going to put down some temporary suitcases just for the ramp to sit on, and then we're going to stick some small safes on top of that, just because I measured out the height for it. Then you can place all that on top. Now with these pit scaffold ramps, they're brilliant because when I remove all of the suitcases underneath, it doesn't attach any ties to anything and it will just sit there and float. Now I've gone ahead and repaired everything, and it should look something like this. Right, now so working on upstairs, I'm changing these roofs into just standard ones so there's nothing in the way, and I want to place in one of these smaller guard posts. Now depending on which one you have, you can use it with any of these four that I show you, but I'm going to be using the matching one to the one I used in the shipping container. Okay, so now we're going to want to place a small floor mat down, and you can place your guard post on top of that so that it picks it up. Lovely. Then we need to change these two walls into the standard vanilla wooden walls, and we need to temporarily remove some of these little stair posts. Right, then I'll change these roofs into just the standard sort of slope roofs, just to take anything away from the top. Burn those walls, and then you want to place a mat as far poking out as you possibly can. You can pick up that mat, and then that mat will take support on this mat, and then it's just a question of wriggling it all around until you get it nice and central. And as you can see, I had to burn that little small fence as well because that was getting in the way. Now go ahead and burn the guard post so we can stick our stair posts back in. Then you can go ahead and repair everything. Now this is where I was starting to realise that might have been a little bit too much of a step, and this is why I said at the beginning use the pit roofs. Right, so now I'm just putting down a large mat. You just got to move it around so it fits nicely, but yeah, makes it look like a bit of a carpet up there. Next we need to place a door upstairs, so we're putting a temporary foundation with a staircase off it. Then we're going to place down some upper floors until we work our way all the way back into the building, and then you can just place in a door. Now the door that you choose might not fit, so just flick through that category until you find one that does fit, and then you can just quickly edit it over back to the one you want. Right, I end up flipping this door round so it opens outwards, but at this very point is where I realise that I can't walk through the door, so bear with me. I'm just going to quickly go and change these over to the pit roofs. Right, so now that you saved yourself the headache and placed the pit roofs in at the beginning, we are going to place on a foundation. So we've got a marker one. We're going to remove that out, and in order to put the porchway inside, I need to break all the roofs above it. So I'm putting the porch in, and then we need to take our sunken flamer on the mat and burn the half wall underpinning underneath. So then we can snap some stairs to our porchway. I always use porches because the snares, they will sit higher. Then you can just simply remove your porch out again and place your foundation back. Right, so now at this point of the tutorial you should be left with something looking pretty similar to this. Now this is the main structure built. So for the rest of this tutorial we're just going to go over some decorating stuff, and we're going to make it look nice and scrappy. As you can see here with the pit roofs, you can walk out here perfectly where I couldn't before. And then on the other doorway I've just placed in a curtain which will just snap in with how it is. Don't need to worry about putting upper floors in or anything like that. Right, so next, after this suicidal deer decides to kill itself on me, I'm going to break the shipping container and place in the power. Now, if you've got these generators, they're a fusion generator, and this will power the whole camp radius, and you can just tuck it in here. It's out the way, doesn't have to be seen, or you can have it on display. It's up to you. As you can see, I've gone round and I've changed all my wall pack over to my scrappy sort of look. I'm going to stick in a half chain link fence there. Just, you don't have to do that, use whatever you've got, just to sort of set off a little boundary there, because I'm going to be building a sort of workshop area in that piece in a minute. Just go round sticking stuff all over the place, just make it look scrappy. I've added loads of lights and some awnings and things like that. To add them awnings in, or the canopies, whatever you want to call them, all I've done is I've changed my roofs into a standard roof, so it's out of the way. You can simply click it on and then change the roof back. Next, we're going to be doing our workbench area. Now, I decided to cram as much of this in as possible. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place these on shooting targets. This time round, I'm using the can, or what I used to do before I had these cans was I'd place the workbenches on top of a small conduit, and then you just break the conduit and it'll make it disappear. So I'm going to be using an armor bench, and now I'm putting a weapons bench on it, and I will be putting a tinker's bench on it as well. And all I'm doing is just placing them on top of these cans and then merging them down to the base of the can. Right, now that we've got all of our 3 benches nicely merged down onto their cans, we're going to take one of these cabinets and just simply pick up the tinker's bench first. Now we're going to keep this one right the way over to this side of the cabinet. With the weapons workbench, I end up moving that into the middle, so I don't know if you want to do that now, because it all just ends up with the tinkers and the workbench all being a bit too much on top of each other. So I just spaced them out a little bit. So if you've got the shooting targets, it's a lot easier than trying to burn a conduit like I used to do. It just means that you can sort of merge things all into tight spaces without anything getting in any way of anything. And yeah, it's just sort of next level merging, I suppose you'd like to call it. Right, so now I've moved the weapons bench into the middle. We're going to start merging. Now, if they're at different heights, just break things and just keep lifting up the one that's lower as you're merging until they're all at a nice height, and merge them all down. Next, I'm going to take that cabinet and I'm going to merge it onto a table. And it'll be this table right here. Then when you burn that cabinet, all the weapons benches and that would disappear, and you can place the cooking station at the end of the table, and then just simply repair everything. And that's 4 like crafting benches all in one. And as you can see, like I'm about to demonstrate, every single one of them can be used. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky trying to pick up which bench you want to use, but, you know, what can I say? Right, so now in order to sort of cram everything all around it like I have been doing, just simply break it all so it all disappears, and then you can just place all your bits in and repair as you go. Next, I'm just going to do some simple little decorating around. I don't like to leave things as standard. I like to merge everything and anything into itself, and just try and make your camp a bit more unique to others rather than just placing things randomly. Let's mix and match and see what sort of things we can create. Right, so as I found out here, sometimes your workbenches and everything, where I thought they were sitting on top of my shipping container, they're not actually sitting on top of that. They're sitting on top of that generator, which is sitting on top of them stairs. So you might need to break that guard post in order to make everything disappear, and then you can just place in your bits that you want to add, just to scrap it all up. Right, so now in order to work on this sort of small guard post, you're going to need to change the roofs so the spikes are out of the way from the pit roof. Change all the walls over to something standard so that no door frames or anything like that are getting in the way. Shut the doors, and then you can literally chuck things all up here however you choose. Right, next, in order to place any vines or anything like that, which I wanted to do, all you got to do is just change that roof into a standard slopey roof, break the container, and the vines will snap to the wall perfectly. Right, next, just because, as I said, I don't like leaving things standard, just going to put these two fires on top of each other. You know, just, it's all the little details that count, really, at the end of the day. Right, and very stupidly, as always, I've managed to put a bloody ally out at this point, so she's going to be rattling on in the background, so I do apologise for that. Now, I'm going to build a little barbecue area, so it's just a question of placing these little fire piles, if you've got them. If not, you could just place some food items, whatever you have to your advantage, on top of here, and then we're going to merge it all down. Well, mate, her fingers must be hurting after playing the guitar that quickly. Right, and like we did with the workbenches, obviously things are going to be at different merge heights, so it's just a question of keep lifting up the item that you want to raise up a little bit as you're merging. Every time you merge, lift up the item till you're happy with the height of, in my case, it's the duck and the fish. Once you're happy, merge it all the way down.
You hear that? It was the world saying hello.
Right, now I'm just going to take these little flowers, or you can use any little flowers that you've got, and just change it up as normal. I mean, I sound like a broken record, keep saying it, but you know, I like to make sure that everything isn't standard. Yeah, it costs you a little bit more budget, but it makes it unique. Right, now I'm going to make the bed area. I have a separate tutorial on how to do all these floating beds, so I'm just going to quickly rush through it now. And you know, if you're interested in learning this little technique, then I'll link the video in the description, and you can check that one out when you're finished with this.
Everything has its own song, you know?
Right, so when I got this far into the builds, the old buddy system started to play up a little bit, and it wasn't merging very well. But you know, it's just one of the great little things that this game has to throw at you when you're trying to build. Right, so now I'm going to make a display cabinet, but obviously true to my form I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I'm starting out with these circus cubes, and I'm just going to try and place these down as close as possible. But I mean, this camp isn't bad, this area, for enemies, but obviously in this video I'm constantly being attacked. It's only by small little things that just get in the way. Obviously your ally doesn't do anything to help, so you have to intervene. Okay, next we're going to be placing a display cabinet up on top. So with this display cabinet, as you put it on, don't worry about it overhanging slightly to that side, because that side's going to end up being up against the door frame and you won't see anything, but you'll see what I mean once I put it into the camp. So line it up best you can, and then just simply pick up whichever one it's taking support from and merge it all the way down. Right, now showing it inside the camp, there's my merged one, and if you just break that circus cube, then the display case will disappear and you can place in the other one. Like I've shown in other tutorials, the best way to cram as much as you possibly can into tight spaces is just literally burn everything as you place it, and then just keep pushing things in as tight as possible.
As crazy as it is here, it's better than where I've been.
Right, and the last thing I'm going to place in here, now that everything is burnt, is this mat, because I like to place the mats in last, because if you place them in first, then things have to sit on top of them. They look higher than other things, especially chairs and things like that. I just find that it's easier to place the mat in last, break everything and place the mat in. Right, now it's time to take a little look around. I haven't placed out as much stuff as I did in the original build, but as you can see, I've still got like over a third of my budget left. There's plenty to still scrap in stuff and mess around. So let's just have a little wander around the camp, starting off with downstairs. And as you can see, like I usually do, I like to cram as much rubbish in to as tight a space as possible. So yeah, literally, like I said, burn as you place things, and then yeah, just scrap it all up, because it's such a small camp. It's easy to place a lot of items in and not use up a lot of budget at all. In order to place that special board in, just break them circus cubes, break the walls being a plain vanilla wooden wall, and then you can just place that in and repair everything. Going around the back here, I've got a little seating area where my annoying ally sits playing a guitar all day long, and we have a trader here visiting. There's our little barbecue area. Right, let's head on upstairs and get stuck somewhere, but yeah, head up upstairs. We've got a nice little seating area out here on our guard post, and when we turn around we've got our little workshop area with as much crammed into it as possible. So I mean, it still takes up the same amount of budget, but it takes up less space, with literally just junking everything and anything anywhere I can physically put it. Moving on upstairs, we can just take a look in here. Got our bed floating up there nicely, and I've just literally, like downstairs, burnt things, placed things, and squeezed them in as much as possible. Just put that Nuka-Cola light onto the barrel, merge it down, then you can place the cards in, and just clutter the walls with junk and anything you can find. Right, as you can see here, the bed works perfectly, so nothing gets in the way of anything. Right, then moving out onto our little balcony area, I've just got an ammo box stuck in there, some shelves, some plants chucked on top, boxes all over the place, and with this bust I literally just merged in the Mr. Pebbles plushie, I think it is, straight down into there just to give him a little head, you know, kind of funny, and just chucked in some other bits, random bits. That's what it's all about. And building scrappy camps is literally just putting anything anywhere. And that brings us to the end of another tutorial. I can't thank you guys enough for keeping with it and supporting my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and there's all sorts of links on my homepage towards the shop and anything else. Just like to say a massive thank you to my channel members. You guys have gone above and beyond, and I guess that's it. So until next time, I'll catch you in the wastelands.